looked at me and shouted, "A Mexican like you would never understand," followed by a bad name for Mexican people. I was horrified at being called it in the middle of class, and I looked at my teacher, who just shrugged her shoulders and went back to the show. I couldn't believe it. We're learning about the civil rights movement and I was called a term in front of everyone. I tried asking my teacher why she didn't say anything because what they called me was a bad word towards me and my ethnicity. All she did was say, "It's just a word, sticks and stones." I ran home in tears and told my mom everything. She was upset at first, but at the time she told me that AIA probably didn't know that that word was a bad word towards Latin people and maybe she'll figure it out when she's older or say sorry the next day. How wrong my mother was. For the next 4 years, AIA would throw racial slurs at me, calling me the Mexican who eats nothing but beans or a wetback because I must have crossed the Rio Grande River. I begged her every single time to stop and I went to my teachers pleading with them for help, but they never did anything. It wasn't just the terms she threw at me. She would insult me for the way I looked, the way my hair was, why I was bigger compared to the other girls who were slim. She wasn't a model herself either. Things got worse in the 4th grade. I was going through a rough time because my mom was dating a man who drank beer as if prohibition ended. He also smoked heavily and the smell will end up on my clothes, which added fuel for AIA's fire. I would always use me as an example about the dangers of smoking, pointing out how the smell was so bad that she constantly plugged her nose every time she walked by me. It led to rumors of me never taking a bath that followed me up until the end of 6th grade. At this time my mom was starting to realize that AIA was not stopping and she tried contacting the school, but all she would get was that it was just a disagreement between 2 classmates. She wrote notes for me to give to my teachers, but nothing would happen, and in the 5th grade things really took a bad toll. My grandfather passed away and his death hurt me so much that even to this day I still feel that raw pain of his passing. Word got out to my school and AIA walked up to me saying how sorry she was that my grandfather was gone. I naively thought that maybe, just maybe, she would stop being a bully and say sorry for saying prejudiced things towards me. Nope. It's sad that he died to get away from you. I would too if I realized my granddaughter was so ugly. I broke into tears while she and a few of her friends laughed. And as always, none of my teachers did anything to stop her. I told my mom, who managed to finally get a hold of my teacher and demanded that she do something about it or else she was going to go up there and make her stop. So for the first time in the whole year, my teacher walked up to AIA and told her to stop being so mean to me. I looked at her and burst into tears crying that she was being so mean. "It's because I'm black, isn't it?" Immediately my stupid teacher backed off. AIA would go on to use that phrase every single time any of our teachers even attempted to do something. Now you're probably wondering how she ruined my life. Well, I'm getting to it. Things slowly quieted down when I was in 6th grade, but she was plotting something. I used to draw anime a lot. I wasn't any good, but I practiced every single day and slowly my skills were improving. I was drawing the main cast of Sailor Moon during my free period and it was a decent first attempt really. For once there were no stray pencil marks and I didn't have to erase as much. I left to go to the bathroom and when I came back my drawing was ruined. It had pen marks everywhere with the slurs and wetback in permanent marker all over it. I was devastated and broke down. I worked so hard on that drawing and it was vandalized with hate. I looked over to a group of desks where AIA was sitting and I saw her laughing. She and a couple of her girlfriends were saying how funny it was that I was crying over a stupid picture, and I saw that she had that stupid permanent marker on her desk. I marched up to her and yelled at her. I demand to know what it is about me that she hates so much. Why was she acting like this towards me when I did nothing to her? I was crying. I was screaming and my teacher told both of us to go to the office. I thought we were finally going to solve the issue, but as always I was wrong. My principal looked at the both of us and said that I should apologize. Me? What? Principal? Apologize for yelling at her. Just because you're upset over a drawing doesn't mean you have to yell at a classmate for it. Me? But she ruined my drawing. She wrote slurs all over it. I should point out that she even had permanent marker stains on her hands. Me? Why aren't you telling her that you don't tolerate racism in this school? Why are you always taking her side? Principal, I'm not taking sides, young lady, but those are just words. Sticks and stones. I honestly didn't know what to feel at that moment. I realized that AIA was getting away with her prejudice and there was nothing I could do about it. I still refused to apologize and the principal called my mom, who demanded that the principal do something about AIA, but nothing happened as always. After that incident, AIA was emboldened at the fact that she could get away with the bullying and made my life hell. She destroyed me. It was to the point where I could no longer draw again. Even to this day, if I even try to draw a character I liked, I would break into tears and just stop. My mom tried everything. She pleaded, she demanded and she threatened, but my school just brushed it off as an overprotective single mom who just didn't like seeing her overly sensitive child hurt. In my mom's perspective, from what she told me, she watched as her happy-go-lucky little girl slowly morphed into a sad and combative teenager. I developed a hatred towards my own ethnicity and I cried that I wished I was white because I hated being called those words and I hated the way my face looked because I could see my Native American features. That's right, I'm indigenous too. She made me hate myself. It was only after elementary school did the bullying finally stop because she went to a different junior high school, but just because I was able to get away from her didn't mean that the effects of her bullying stopped. I had to go to therapy to get rid of the terrible things she said to me out of my head and slowly regain myself as a person. My family, who knew of the bullying, gathered around and gave me unconditional love and support, all the while telling me stories of our ancestors who started our family, how they fled Spain during the Texas Revolution. I even went to the tribe I was descended from to help gain a better understanding of my indigenous roots, and they helped me immensely as well. AIA and I ended up going to the same high school, but I avoided her like the plague because I wanted nothing to do with her or her bullcrap. AIA was a model student, and during Black History Month, we used to have an assembly where we talked about the great black figures in history. She would always go on the podium and talk about how proud she was of her ethnicity and that we should embrace everyone of different ethnicity, religion and all that good stuff. It took all of my willpower and constant reminding of myself that what happened in elementary school was in the past to not laugh and roll my eyes. I just thought she was a piece of work.